reaction tonight to President Trump's elimination of President Obama's DACA program. Former President Clinton saying, quote, "Today's decision by the White House to terminate DACA, and that is effectively what it attempts to do, will crush their dreams and weaken the American dream for the rest of us." He went on to say, "It's wrong because it's bad policy that solves no pressing problem and raises new ones. It's wrong because it's irresponsible, passing the buck instead of offering sensible solutions for immigration reform. Most of all," the statement reads, "it's wrong because it's cruel to send these young people to places many of them have never lived and do not know." Sharp reaction to across the country, including Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles. Today, California's Attorney General promised legal action to California challenge the president's decision. Joining us now is former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. Mr. Mayor, you say that protecting the 800,000 young people who could be in jeopardy of deportation is a test of the nation's true values. How do you propose protecting those dreamers?
Well, I think the Attorney General is correct, and the governor supports him, that we should take a page out of Texas' book and use the 10th Amendment and test this new effort on the part of the Trump administration to end the DACA program. I think we need to stand up for the proposition that if you want to, you need a court order, a specific court order for an individual. If you want to go into a courthouse or a hospital or a school or other places that we've seen increasingly ICE agents enter, sweeping in a way that most of us find objectionable and unacceptable. And it's an inflection point for us for who we are as a nation. Are we what Mother Liberty has held herself out to be, a place where you bring me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses? Or are we just going to send 800,000 to 1 million kids, because not everybody applied for DACA, back to countries they've never been to, they don't know except as children?
What do you say to those who agree with President Trump and the Attorney General that today's actions restores responsibility and rule of law to immigration? That we're a nation of laws, and there have to be laws on this, and that President Obama overstepped.
Anderson, great question. Look, we are a nation of laws, and we have to fix this broken immigration system. People across the board believe it's broken, and the Congress should fix it. And there are Congress members in California that have not supported either fixing the broken immigration system, addressing the DACA kids, doing anything with respect to giving people a pathway to citizenship and fixing this broken problem. So, look, the law is not exactly clear on the issue. I heard people earlier today saying that the President Obama didn't have the authority to do it. Some courts have said he did. It's not a certain issue, but what we do know is the Congress does have the ability to make that decision, to change the law, to make sure to protect these DACA kids, and I hope they do that. I think we those of us who believe in this country, who believe that we shouldn't have a Muslim ban, who believe that transgender patriots ought to be able to serve in the military, who believe that these DACA kids who are graduating from high school and college, contributing to the economy, ought to be able to participate in this great nation. That's who we are. That's who we've always held ourselves out to be.
When you hear the president saying that he has love for the dreamers and that something has to be done in Congress to address this situation, do you believe Congress can actually get legislation passed? Because, the track record obviously on this is not good.
Well, it's clear by his actions that he doesn't have love for the dreamers. And it's also clear that over the decade, as some of your earlier participants stated, neither party has really addressed this issue in the way that we need to. I think we need to stop screaming at one another, work together across partisan lines, and figure this out to fix it. There are 7 people in the Congress, as I said, who have not supported it in the past. 2 of them have indicated they will. Every single member of Congress representing the state of California, which overwhelmingly supports the dreamers. As you know, more than 25% of the dreamers are living in California. LA's the epicenter, yet we're the 6th largest economy in the world. LA is the 17th largest economy in the world if you look at the metropolitan economy. And many of the people here are undocumented. They're working in ag, in construction, in the service and hospitality industries. And we ought to acknowledge that and bring them in.
Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
It's always good to be on your show, Anderson.
Back now with the panel. Paul, what do you say to those who say, look, this is bad for jobs for American citizens, even though unemployment is obviously extremely low right
That's
now.
what I would say. The president has been bragging that unemployment is at a 16-year low. So it's kind of hard to make that case and to make that argument. But I also say that these young people, as Maria points out, they're just as American as the rest of us. They don't have paper. They were brought here through no fault of their own, and they have played by the rules. To be eligible to be a dreamer, you have to have no criminal record whatsoever. You have to have a completely clean record. So, and they're going into jobs, they're going into college, they're going into the military. This is something I think that we ought to encourage. It doesn't come at the loss of someone else.
They're paying taxes.
They're paying taxes. They're Americans in every way except the paper. And I think Matt earlier made a good point. There's no right, there's no entitlement, but there's a responsibility, I think, from the rest of us, from America, to take these young people who are contributing so much and want to contribute so much and honor their status.
Ed, I mean, just from a human standpoint, are you sympathetic at all to their situation?
There's always a moral. I mean, many of us belong to churches. There's a moral component to caring about people, but there's also a component to caring about American citizens. I mean, Paul, you're not telling the truth. You look at the camera and you don't tell truth. They broke the law. They are lawbreakers.
No, they didn't.
No,
They
are.
didn't.
Their status is as lawbreakers.
No,
Guys,
they didn't.
They did not.
Listen. There's plenty.
No, what is that act?
Paul, listen.
What is that act of crossing the border without papers?
You can filibuster a minute. Let me just
I'm asking you a
explain to
question.
you.
What's
I'm
that
not.
act?
I know, but it's not your
civil
show.
offense. It's not a criminal offense, Ed.
And listen, in this country, there are
not even
people
a
that
crime.
get in line legally to be immigrants, and then there are people that are citizens. We voted in an election. You lost. Your team lost. Hold on. Hold on. Your team lost.
My team won by 3 million
the team that
votes.
won is the team that said, "Let's put Americans first. We the people." If the Congress wants to now change the laws, by the way, I'm for changing birthright citizenship. There's no other country in the world that says, "Come to our country, have a baby. That baby's a citizen." Wow. We ought to change that. But that's my argument policy until the Congress
grandfather
changes that.
clause.
Wow.
But you know what?
How far back will we go?
You know what the American people want, Paul, is they want less of the people like you who put Americans last,
Really? Thank
and they
you for
want
that.
people that want to put America first.
Thanks,
Really?
thanks,
That's it.
Ed. Per your law, I would
That's
not be
what
an American citizen
That-
today.
that's not a
Thank
personal
you.
thing. That's just a
Thank you
preference
very
of
much.
policy.
It's
That's a
ridiculous. This is a country, yes, we are a country of laws. but
Right.
Two
All right,
things.
let her respond.
Two things. Guess what? The rule of law is made to serve societies, not the other way around. So when societies evolve and situations are such that the laws no longer are serving that society, they change them. That's why we have lawmakers.
The Constitution serves Americans,
I'm not finished.
not the world.
I am not finished. That's why we have lawmakers, and that is why right now, today, our immigration laws do not serve us well, which is why we have been trying to change it. Yes, it's difficult, but this is the reality. Secondly, the reality on jobs and the economy. These dreamers contribute almost $500 billion a decade to our economy.
They take out, too.
No,
They
the
take out,
jobs,
too.
no,
Of
they
course they
don't.
take out.
The jobs that
take out.
jobs that they take are as people who wash dishes, they babysit, they work at snow cone stands. They are minimum wage jobs, and they want to go to school to be able to continue to contribute to this great society. This is a society that was based on immigrant labor, on immigrant commitment to work ethic, and that is something that Trump and obviously the people who support him want to
It
change.
is interesting that, on the one hand, the president is talking about being compassionate and stuff. On the other hand, the White House is sending out talking points to Capitol Hill saying that these folks need to prepare for departure from the United States.
Well, and when you talk about what Trump promised during the campaign, too, this is a classic example of this sort of split personality of Trump and his administration and his campaign. During the campaign, when he was reading off the teleprompter, he did say this is an illegal amnesty that President Obama did. He also, at the same time, as a candidate, said in interviews, I feel for the dreamers, I have heart for the dreamers, I'm not going to hurt the dreamers. And it's continued that way. If it was so clear to the president that this was an unconstitutional action, he could have sat down there on day one and gotten rid of it. Instead, his administration issued 200,000 new permits for DACA. And so this is always something that he has wanted to have it both ways on. And, the idea that this was a clear-cut promise that his base voted for when they elected him, I don't think it was very clear. It was a case instead of people hearing what they wanted to hear when he spoke. Even with the Trump base, this is not a popular thing to do. Even the majority of voters who elected Trump do not want to send the dreamers home. And so the politics of this are very tricky. It's very different from the wall, which was a very clear signature campaign promise.
We got to take a quick break. When we come back, trading threats with